in Proverbs 30, from verse 24 to 25, it says, "There be four tiny things upon the earth which are incredibly wise." And then he goes on to say, "The ants are a people not strong, but they prepare their meat in the summer." So here the Lord is speaking to us, has told us there's a secret. And the secret is the ants, of all four tiny creatures are loaded with wisdom. And then we go on to Proverbs 6 verse 6. It says, "Go to the ants, thou sluggard, examine her ways and be wise." In other words, God has specifically asked us to go into the school of the ants and learn, incredible wisdom. So what new wisdom do we learn today about the ants? Now, for some of you who may be familiar or have grown up in places where ants are very predominant, you know much about the ant life, you know about the ant hill and different parts of it. Now, one thing you would have come to discover about the ants is very incredible, that the ants in community, in their own world, the ants are made up of different types of ants. So some we call the fire ants. You probably have heard that before. Some are called the soldier ants. I'll tell you what they do in a minute. Some are called the nurse ants. Some are called the farmer ants. So we see that in the organization of the ant world, every ant has a specific role or responsibility. So the soldier ants, their role is to protect, the queen and their colony from attack. You have the queen whose role is just to lay eggs. You have the nurse ants. When I discovered this amazed me. They call them the nurse ants. Their role is to look after the young ones in their colony. This is mind blowing. You think about daycare, nursery, midwives. In the world of the ants, they have this role as well. Then they have the farmer ants. The farmer ants, they do actually agriculture, so that that's why the scripture says that, they know how to collect their food, to store their food during the summer, so they are not hungry. Now the lion, has to hunt to find food, but the ants are not like that. They have other means of keeping their food and keeping it well. That's why the Lord asked us to go and learn them. So what do we learn from this? What is revelation? What is revelation that the ant world is specialized? What does that mean for us? How does that impact our lives? So I'll share this with you. The thing about this is that in the same way that the ant world is specialized, that makes it possible for them to fulfill their role according to God's plan, according to the way God created them. And at the same time, it means that their community is much better for it, because everyone produces and contributes what they're supposed to contribute to bring forth a great existence for their community. What does Scripture say concerning you and concerning me? It says, "Seest thou a man diligent in his business? He shall stand before kings and not before me men." Proverbs 22:29. "Seest thou a man? Seest thou a woman diligent in his business? He shall stand before kings and not before men." So I want to ask you now, what are you good at? What are the incredible giftings that God has put into your life? Or what have you discovered you are good at? If you can keep on working at it, you will see that it will open incredible doors for you. It will promote you to the highest places. Oh, I love the story of Joseph. Some of you know the story of Joseph. Joseph was sold by his brothers into slavery, but while he was there, he became known for many things. Number one, he became known as an administrator. How do we know this? Because he went to Potiphar's house where he was a slave, but he did so well in looking after the affairs of Potiphar's house. And that's Potiphar's house, that eventually Potiphar made him the chief servant or the butler of the house, looking after everyone else. He became the household manager of Potiphar's house. Potiphar was one of the chief of staff to Pharaoh. Again, later on, we find that Joseph became an interpreter of dreams. He was a dreamer initially, but he became an interpreter of dreams. He interpreted for different people up to the point where Pharaoh had a dream that he could not find anyone to interpret, and Joseph was brought before him to interpret the dream. So we find people of God, great people, that the key to fulfilling destiny, to becoming all that God has created to be, is to find out what you are good at, or to decide to be good at something and just keep at it until you become a specialist at it. I ask you now, if I were to ask your friends, or your friends were to describe it to me, what would they say about you? What would they say is your passion? What would they say is your specialty? What did they say is your special skilling? I want to challenge you today. Be like the ants, or rather, you'd be better than the ant. You're not even like the ants. God is just only using the ants as an illustration. None of us is like as ants. We are much greater than that. We are made in God's image. But God has created the ant, almost as a mirror. So if you can see the ant, then you can learn wisdom from them. So the challenge I leave with you today is, what are you known for? Or what will you be known for? What are you skilled at? And then are you applying diligence to that? If I were to ask about you, will your friends or your colleagues or brethren be able to mention, I know Jacob, oh, he's so known for this thing, or I know Janet, she's so well known for this thing. Let it be so concerning you. The ants are specialized. Go and become a specialist. God bless you. Love to hear from you again. And if you want to hear the full of this series, it's a mighty blessing series. Just send us a message, and we'll send the series to you. And see you again soon. If you're ever in Scotland, please visit with me in the City of God. Or if you want to find out if I'm going to be around, if we're going to be around where you are, let us know. We'll let you know whenever we're around where you are. God bless you.